Hi guys, this is teacher Tianshi again, and welcome to our day 4 of the AMC 10 Algebra Challenge. And actually, day 4 is the last day of our first week Algebra Challenge. And let's talk about the second questions in the Algebra Challenge, which is very representative. So first of all, let's read this question together. So for how many integers x is the number x to the power of 4 minus 51x squared plus 50 negative? So basically here, we do not know how to solve an equation with the fourth power yet. But actually, what we know is that we can solve for like the linear equation and also the quadratic equation, right? So for quadratic equation, actually the highest degree should be 2 instead of 4. So actually the way of treating this question is that we can think about, so we can assume x squared to be one variable such as t. So this equation will become t squared minus 51t plus 50. And we want it to be negative, right? So by thinking about x squared as one variable t, we can change the equation to the power of 4 to quadratic equation, which we know how to deal with it. So first step, we can decrease the degree of this algebraic expression. And then we have the equation t squared minus 51t plus 50 is smaller than 0. So here, for this number, actually we can use the cross method to solve this question. So the first step is to decrease the degree. And the second step is to use the cross method to solve this equation. So here we know that we t, and then negative 50, negative 50. So the cross method, negative 50, 1. Okay, so here negative 50, negative 1. So we have t minus 50, and then t minus 1 is smaller than 0, right? So in order for this equation to have a negative value, actually it can be either positive, negative, or negative, positive, right? So is it possible for t minus 50 to be larger than 0 and t minus 1 to be negative? Actually, this is not possible because t minus 50 has to be smaller than t minus 1. So if for these two parentheses, 1 is going to be negative, it has to be this one. So actually, the first scenario does not exist. So the only possible scenario is the second scenario, when t minus 50 is smaller than 0 and t minus 1 is larger than 0. So actually we can have an equation here. So t minus 50 is smaller than 0 and t minus 1 is larger than 0. So we can solve for this equation. So t minus 50 is smaller than 0, so t is smaller than 50. And t minus 1 is larger than 0, so t is greater than 1. So here we have an equation here. So we have 1 is smaller than t is smaller than 50. And actually we want to think about the range for x. So x squared equals to t. So we have 1 is smaller than x squared is smaller than 50. And we have the range for x squared, and we want to calculate how many integers x is this equation exists, right? So for the integers, actually, it can be ranging from 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And it can be not greater than 7 because 8 squared is 64, which does not meet the requirement. And 1 is larger or equal to 1 instead of 1. So actually, x squared, x can only be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So do you think that these are all the values? Actually, we still have the negative one, right? Because if x is negative 2, the square is also 4. So we also have all the like negative for this value. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 7 number, right? Times 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 6 numbers. And the negative 1. So in total, we have 12 values. So the correct answers for this one will be 12. Okay, so that is the explanation for this question. So for this question, first of all, we need to decrease the degree for this one. And second, use the cross method to solve this quadratic equation and then think about the ways like them satisfy the condition. Okay, so that's all for our first day of the Algebra Challenge, and I'm looking forward to see you next week. Bye, guys!